Hi everyone, Helen Blunden here. I hope you're happy, healthy and well. It's time for a new book review today where I share some life lessons out of books that I have been reading. Feels as if I haven't been in front of a camera for a very long time. And the reason is, a couple of weeks ago I published a video where I showed my process of how I take notes and reflective notes and journal these notes while reading. And the video went gangbusters, so thank you very much to those who watched that video and commented on it. And I had to get back to everyone who had left a comment in there asking for more of that type of video. And it threw me in a spin, I must admit, because I actually quite like reading. I spend a lot of my time quietly reading. I don't feel guilty about it, and I make time for reading and writing. When people ask, what's your process of doing XYZ, it throws me into a spin because I think, oh my God, I have to set more time to create this video of how to do it. More time for videos, less time for reading. So it's a bit of quandary. In answer to that question, if you're thinking if I could do more how-tos, I probably will in the future. I need to have the motivation to do it. When I get spurred onto it, I will do it. But first, let me just talk about the book that I'd like to talk about today, which is Ideas to Save Your Life, Philosophy for Wisdom, Solace and Pleasure. Now, I bought this book a couple of years ago. If you're someone who wants to read philosophy, I'd say start off with something light, and this would be it. Michael McGirr is an Australian author who I didn't know he was Australian. When there was Australian context in it, I went, beauty, fantastic. Michael McGirr is actually a very prolific author. He's written a few books. He's reviewed over 1,000 books. He's got tons of short fiction that have appeared in publications in Australia and overseas. And he's also been the publisher of Eureka Street and the fiction editor of Mean Gin, which is a magazine here in Australia. Currently, he works in international aid and development for a large NGO. In the past, he was a Jesuit priest. He does make references to his work in the Catholic Church in this book. He's a best-selling author of a few books, and one of the books that I also want to get of his is one titled Books That Saved My Life. And I really want to get that simply because it made me think, what are the books that saved my life? It'd be interesting to see an author's take on the books that he loved and whether they're similar or different to mine. And if anything, it would give me a great reading list of books to try and find. He's also written a couple of others called Bypass and The Things You Get for Free. This book is fairly recent. It was published in 2021, and in fact I did get it in 2021, but it's taken me a few years to read this because I have been getting into a lot of fiction. And so when I picked up this non-fiction book, I thought I had to kind of switch gears in my head to try and get into the flow of this book. He starts off with a question, as all philosophers do, and the question was, where is the well in your village? Now, if you think of a well that supplies water for the village and that everyone gathers around this well in a community and this water gives them life. Asking that question for yourself, where is the well in your life? Where is the well in your community? What are the knowledge and the skills and the experiences that you can give to your local community? The things that make you happy, the things that make you content, the things that allow you to enjoy the simplicity of life, but you give back. And this book had very different chapters, all on a particular emotion. Things like happiness, things like anger, zest. Each of his chapters were reflections of recalling of stories of his life and his work as a Jesuit priest, but also as a teacher. And he drew in the different people that he had met and the different situations that they were in. With each of the chapter, he then recalled a particular philosopher who he delved into their ideas and then tried to draw some links into his own world. Ultimately, he had a lot more questions than answers, but this was more about what are the ideas that these philosophers had provided for us to think about and apply in our lives. I've highlighted a whole heap of different ideas in this book that stop to make me think. The first one is the differences between well-being and well-finding. He talks about the current life, how all our focus is on the ego, it's on ourselves, and it's on our well-being. But he proposes that maybe in order for us to become the well in our own community is that we have to start seeking well-finding. So finding ourselves first in order for us to help others. Finding that thing that allows us to connect to something in this world, or to connect to other people, or to connect to something spiritually, in order for us to be able to provide attention to others. This was a second idea I got in this book. We give focus to those people who are attention seeking versus those who are attention giving. We all know people who like to seek attention, but what about those who give attention? Shouldn't we become more like them? Shouldn't we quiet ourselves, observe, listen, and empathize with other people? So these are very good ideas for a current life. The movement of well-being for ourselves, and the move to well-finding, and also the move from attention seeking to attention giving. Another lesson that I learned from this book is the term called carpe diem. And carpe diem, as you know, is seize the day. And I have images of that movie with Robin Williams standing on the desk in front of all the students. And he mentioned that carpe diem is just not always about seizing the day, getting out there and grabbing the bull by the horns. It's actually being misunderstood. Seizing the day can also mean having a quiet reality, the fact of being able to not also believing in tomorrow, to also be able to make a journey without really going anywhere. And this really made me think, because in recent times I haven't been traveling, and sometimes I think to myself, because I can't travel, I start to feel sorry for myself, or there's not money to do something, and then I think, well, you know what, actually I can do a lot of these things. I can use the resources and the tools and the websites available to me. I can actually think of my local community as a whole world out there that I can explore. So ultimately it's changing how we think. So seizing the day does not mean that I'm losing out by not traveling or going anywhere or doing the things that I am comparing others to do. That I actually can seize the day by creating my own journey, spiritual or not, my own lessons or my own learning and experiences in my own life with what is around me. I thought that it was akin to the previous video that I had shared about taking notes and reflective notes while reading. And in fact, this book does read like that. I can imagine him reading all these philosophical texts and coming up with an idea, and then writing a chapter on that idea and that philosopher, and integrating his whole life experiences or situations that happened to him around that topic. I thought that the video I shared on making notes was exactly what this book was about. It was an outcome or a product of what I was sharing. Where my notes are all private and written hydraulically in a notebook, what you can do if you wanted to formalize that writing is there's nothing stopping you from writing your own book and writing a chapter on each of the books that you have written. And it's similar to that. That's how I found his reading. It was as if he had formalized his notes into a book and shared the ideas that he got from these books, but also integrated them around his own personal stories. So maybe that's something that you can do. And hey, you can do it nowadays. You can print your own books just using templates or going on lulu.com, or I know many of you have asked me to write a book. It's too hard. I'm lazy. Anyway, so let's go on. The third question was, are you the same person you were today as you were 7 years ago? That's a really good question, because we know that our cells generate every 7 years. So 7 years ago, my physical self, all the cells have been renewed, so they're all gone. But am I the same person I was 7 years ago? Well, physically, yes, except for the grey hair, except for the length of the hair. But ultimately, I would say I don't think I am the same person 7 years ago. 7 years ago was 2018. It was before COVID. It was before the craziness of COVID. In 2018, I was on social media. I was using a lot of social media. I was sharing a lot on social media. A lot of my work, I was traveling quite a lot, simply because what I was espousing on how to use social media for social learning experiences. I don't do that now. So what I have been doing, it's been really interesting. In the last couple of weeks, I've had a little mini project going on the side. You may not know, but I have a blog site, and I've been blogging for many years. Well, since 2011, even earlier than that. And what I've been doing is I have been slowly moving my digital life into a physical life. So what I've been doing is extracting 1,498 blog posts and putting them into a Word document that I can then fix and print out my entire body of work that I have. I'm not going to print it out to publish it. No. I'm just going to print it out to have on my own bookshelf, just so I could flip through and actually see all the work that I have written in my life. I've basically created all my work history is effectively written. It's been an interesting experience, because the question, am I the same person, looking at my blog posts from 2018 and even before that, I am a different person nowadays mentally. So I've had a massive mental transformation with regards to how I view my work, what work is important to me now, and what was back then. It's been a real experience to actually go back and see yourself through that lens, and see yourself as you wrote in 2018, and the type of person and type of thinking you had. And so the question that he asks here, are we the same person 7 years ago? I would say physically, yes, with minor changes, but mentally I'm a completely different person, and I'm so glad. And it was this process that I've been doing for the last couple of weeks with regards to extracting of blog posts, rereading those blog posts, editing those blog posts, and actually having a mirror as to the type of person that I was back then to who I am now. I'm starting to see those differences. I'm starting to see that growth. And so this is a very interesting lesson that is coming out of this book. And something that you might want to also do is also ask yourself, are you that same person you were 7 years ago? What were the things that you were doing? Go through your social media accounts and look at those photos or the posts that you share 7 years ago. Are they the same that you're sharing nowadays? What's changed? Why has it changed? What's happened in your life? If you are someone who writes lots or blogs a lot, how are your posts different to today as they were back then? This is an example of what you can do to start to reflect about different aspects of your life and how you've changed in the last 7 years. So this was a lesson that I got out of this book. So I'm going to ask you now, let me know what you think with regards to if this sounds like something that you would like to read, or answer me the question, are you the same person you were 7 years ago? Or tell me about your own, where is your well in your village? What is it that fires you up? what is it that you love to do and how you help others in your community. So thank you, Michael McGirr, for the ideas to save your life, philosophy for wisdom, solace and pleasure. That's all for me now. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. Bye for now.